So as I stated, as a caregiver, you get pushback from different people about certain things when you're focusing on the care recipient, and you expect to have people say kind of off the wall stuff. I expected to have people say they would be there and they not show up, or they not be supportive. I kind of expected that in the back of my mind. I really didn't have a support system in place, which is why I always tell caregivers, the moment you fall into this, because a lot of us, it's unexpected. All of a sudden we wake up one day and we're caregivers. This is what you do. You start with building that support system, because that comes in handy because you're going to need it, right? And so what you don't expect is for people to be unfeeling or to use empathy, but it happens. Oh my goodness, it happens. So I tell my boss, he knew that I was still technically a newlywed. And I go to him and I say, hey, my husband's having open heart surgery on this date, and I'd like to have that time off. And he looks at me and he says, no. And excuse me? And he says, what are you going to do? Are you the surgeon? You're not the surgeon, and I need these contracts done. So what are you going to spend all day at the hospital for? You don't need to be at the hospital. You can be here doing my work and my contracts. I was an executive assistant at that time. Yeah. So I left his office. I told him I had to go power walk around the building because that's exactly what I needed to do. And I had to focus in my mind, remembering that I needed my job because, the insurance was what was paying for the open heart surgery. And I power walked around the building. And then I said, when I get done, I'll come back and talk to you. And I remember like this was yesterday. I remember when I walked back, because I took an extended break. I really didn't care. I needed to calm down, right? And so I remember walking around the building, and when I came back in the office, he was standing talking to a group of people, and I just looped my hand under his armpit. And I walked him into his office and I told him, I'm not asking, I'm telling you that I'll be off this day. And he got air in his jaws. He got a little angry, but he decided, I'll let him have that. He decided that it would be beneficial for me to spend that time at the hospital with my husband's family, the ones that came, my mom and my husband, while he went through this open heart surgery. So that was another story, because then, he wanted me to always be on call. You ever have a boss like that always wants you to be available at their beck and call? This man would call me early in the morning and he expected me to work. He was a co-founder of a company and he expected me to work as long as he did. He was very difficult. My red flag was when I took the job and they told me that he had never had an executive assistant longer than 2 years. So I should have known that was a red flag right then and there, that this man had issues, but I lived through that experience and I can validate that he had issues. Here again, here's another person's name I ain't gonna name, but don't tempt me, because, I think he need to be put on blast anyway. But that is what I'm talking about with caregivers. So we get not only the worrying about the care recipient and what's going on in their lives, and also worrying about organizing extended family to come and help and support. I got responsibilities with my full-time job that I'm also dealing with. And then I got this nut that I work with, right? Who expects me to be on call when this is such a traumatic situation for me. And then people saying crazy stuff out their mouth at the same time. So as a caregiver, you're not alone if you're encountering several things all at once that are happening to you. Anticipate it. But that's also why I'm so passionate, once again, about providing these consulting services, because I've been there. I know what it's like to get it all from all different ends, and you wondering where you're going to get your relief. Stay tuned for the next part. I'll tell you what happened.